The Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species on Wild Fauna and Flora, commonly known as the CITES Convention. The CITES Convention is an international environmental treaty that was established in 1975 to regulate the trade of endangered species and protect them from overexploitation. The treaty is currently ratified by 183 countries, making it one of the most widely adopted international environmental treaties. Now, let's dive deeper into the core points of the CITES Convention. The treaty aims to regulate the international trade of wild flora and fauna species, including their products such as fur, leather, and barley, to ensure their survival in the wild. The convention divides species into three categories: Expanded 1, Expanded 2, and Expanded 3. Expanded 1 includes species treated with extinction, while Expanded 2 includes species that may become treated with extinction if that is not regulated. Finally, Appendix 3 includes species that are protected in at least one country, which has requested the assistance of other CITES parties to control the international trade of that species. The CITES Convention is related to the 7 principles of international environmental law, which include 1. Sovereignty and responsibility. The CITES Convention aims to protect endangered species from overexploitation through international trade by regulating and monitoring their imports, export, and re-export. It also promotes international cooperation, sustainable use, and conservation of species, and education and awareness-raising efforts. 2. Good neighborliness and international cooperation. This principle aims to promote collaboration between countries to protect the environment and address temporary environmental issues. 3. Preventive action. The CITES Convention is related to international environmental law and includes preventive action as a key component. Its primary goal is to regulate international trade in endangered species, to prevent their overexploitation and extinction. Through measures such as listing species on appendix, setting quotas, and implementing import-export regulations. CITES also encourages conservation efforts and sustainable trade practice. 4. Precautionary action. The CITES Convention includes the principle of precautionary action, which requires taking measures to prevent environmental damage or harm. Even in situations where there is uncertainty about the extent of the damage or harm in the context of CITES, the precautionary principle guides decisions about the trade in endangered species by limiting or prohibiting trade when there is a risk of harm to the species or its habitat, or when there is insufficient data available to determine whether a species is endangered or not. 5. Duty to compensate for harm. CITES does not directly address the duty to compensate for harm, but it provides a framework for regulating international trade in endangered species and supporting the conservation of this species in the wild. 6. Common but different trade responsibility. The CITES Convention is related to international environmental law and it includes the principle of common but different trade responsibility, which recognizes that all countries share a common responsibility to protect the environment and biodiversity, but developed countries have a greater responsibility due to their historical contribution to environmental degradation and greater capacity to address it. 7. Sustainable development. The CITES Convention is related to international environmental law and it promotes sustainable development by regulating international trade in endangered species, ensuring that it is conducted in a way that balances environmental, economics, and social factors to promote long-term well-being and prevent overexploitation and extinction. So, had the CITES Convention been a success or a failure? Overall, the convention has been successful in regulating the international trade of endangered species and preventing their extinction. One of the key strengths of the CITES Convention is its flexibility, as it allows parties to propose amendments to the appendix as necessary. For example, in 2019, giraffes were added to Appendix 2, recognizing that their population have declined significantly due to habitat loss and international trade. This amendment allows for better regulation of the trade of giraffe parts and products, which have been in a high demand for fashion and traditional medicine. The convention has been also successful in reducing the trade of some endangered species. For instance, in the 1980s, the trade of African elephant ivory was leading to their population decline. In response, the CITES Convention places African elephants on expanding one, effectively banning international trade of their ivory. This led to a significant reduction in the trade of ivory, but unfortunately, poaching continues to be a threat to elephant populations. Despite these successes, the CITES Convention faces ongoing challenges. Legal trade in endangered species remains a significant issue, with sophisticated criminal networks involving poaching and smuggling. There is also a need for greater funding and resources to support enforcement efforts and to address the cause of illegal trade. In conclusion, the CITES Convention is an essential international environmental treaty that has had a significant impact on the conservation of endangered species. It has facilitated cooperation between countries and provided a framework for regulating international trade in wildlife. While there are ongoing challenges, the Convention remains a critical tool for protecting biodiversity and promoting sustainable use of natural resources.